If you're truly that high value man, and because you understand your value and other women understand your value, you should be able to find women who are okay with that. There are women out here who are okay with men who choose not to be monogamous. Go be in relationships with those women. Be a man of your word. Let your yes be a yes and your no be a no. Be a man.
I may be young, but I'm ready to give you all my love.
Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Michelle Amaray, and if you're new here, hi, hello, welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be on the topic of cheating. So this topic has been all over the YouTube sphere, at least, and a bit on Instagram recently. There was this video clip that came out of this show. I don't even know what show it is, but it was a discussion of different Black women talking about their viewpoints on cheating. And also recently, if you're subscribed to Kevin Samuel's channel, he has been doing several broadcasts on this idea of cheating and how high value men don't cheat. They're simply exercising their options. And if you choose to date high value men, you should be open to the idea that this man is going to exercise his options or cheat, as the rest of us might call it. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys this video clip and also give my commentary on this subject and just my opinions on everything.
I believe in cheating respectfully. I never tell my man like, oh, you can go cheat on me.
So cheating respectfully to me is cheating where I don't find out, is having control over your other women, is using condoms and not having babies. Like, cheat respectfully, because believe it or not, your man is cheating. But I'm not leaving my man over a one-night stand with a period.
All right. All right, so first she talks about this idea of cheating respectfully. Let's go ahead and look at the dictionary definition of cheating and what that really is. So according to the dictionary, cheating is acting dishonestly or unfairly in order to gain an advantage. And so this idea of like putting cheating and respectfully together, it's just not adding up, okay? Like, this math isn't mathing, because inherently cheating is a negative thing. And just because you put respectfully in front of it doesn't magically mean that you put a pretty bow on a heap of trash and that was of value. It's still trash with a pretty bow on top. And so this idea of adding respectfully to cheating by, using condoms, not having outside children, not bringing in STDs and stuff, just really doesn't make any sense to me. Because at the end of the day, cheating is rooted in dishonesty. And there's nothing respectful about dishonesty. And I also thought it was interesting that she said she wouldn't leave her man over a one-night stand. And to be very fair, I can understand and see where she's coming from in that regard. Now, I think there's levels to this situation. Now, if you're just a boyfriend cheating, I would be more inclined to go ahead and cut my losses and chuck up the deuces, because I personally believe if that's the precedent you're going to set for our relationship, who am I to think that just because you put a ring on my finger, it's going to magically change in marriage? And if that's like a non-negotiable for me, there's just no point trying to hold out hope that he's going to miraculously change. Now, in marriage, I understand and I can, sympathize a bit more for women who choose to stay in a marriage knowing that their man has stepped out. Because here's the reality of it. Divorce is hard. Divorce is hard on all parties, especially when you have children in the mix as well. So I can understand how a lot of women might grapple with the idea of leaving a marriage just because their person cheated on them. So I can kind of understand that a little bit.
I will only leave my man for three things. You bring me home an STD, you have a baby on me, or if you gay. Everything else is work-outable for me.
Yeah.
Like, period.
I used to say that there was levels to cheating.
It's levels.
So, you can get sucked. That don't mean nothing.
Yeah.
But, don't bite a bitch nothing. Don't make her feel special.
Right. You can't even do that.
Don't make her
have no
feel
baby on
more
me.
special
Because,
than me.
she can't be more special than
Right.
me.
Damn, that's crazy.
I believe that a guy can love you and cheat on you. I'm sorry, I believe it. Guys are built different
You
than
don't
us.
have to be sorry.
Now, I think this part is interesting. She said, I believe a guy can love you and still cheat on you. And I think that comes down to understanding what your definition of love is. For me, love is synonymous with respect. And respect also entails honesty and not doing things behind my back that you wouldn't want me to know and being secretive. So I don't agree with that. That's not the kind of love that I want and that I choose to have. I think my biggest problem with this idea that a man can love you and still cheat on you is that this kind of rhetoric absolves responsibility, or rather accountability, from men. Here's the truth of the matter. I get it. Biologically, men and women, we are not the same. Our hormones are different. Sometimes men might be having higher sex drives than women. Like, so many different things that make us very different and have different needs. So that I understand, I completely get. But my issue is that when you as a man choose to enter into a relationship with a woman exclusively, or even go to the extent of getting married and commit yourselves fully to each other, my issue now is when you choose to step back on that commitment you made to that woman, and God forbid you even go to the extent of marrying her, you make that commitment to her, her family, and God, and you go behind your word, your vows. To me, there's just nothing high value about that. There's just nothing that demonstrates and shows that you're a man. Because if you can be the type of man that has the discipline, that has the ability to go out in the world and provide and work hard and maintain a schedule, but when it comes to your woman, the person you've chosen to walk through life with and create life with, and that's where all sense of accountability and discipline just goes out the window, that doesn't make sense to me. And I think this idea that men will be men and all men cheat is very harmful because it removes that accountability. I believe in holding both sexes accountable. I know there are things that women do that are just wrong, but I believe that we should be able to look ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, we need to do better here. We need to do better there. But same thing goes for men. Hold yourselves accountable. What makes you different from an animal is the fact and the ability that you have to think consciously. So although, yes, you might see an attractive woman, and I'm not naive to think that just because you're married, your man automatically just loses his interest in other people and it just magically disappears. But what makes you different from an animal? You have the conscious ability to say, hey, this one night stand isn't worth disrespecting or lying to my wife or to my woman. So although I might have these urges and I might have this temptation, I choose to not give in to that temptation and commit and remain faithful to my wife. That to me is a man, and not somebody who chooses to go out there and exercise their options.
I've been in the life that I lived and you lived with Suge. That kind of came with the territory.
Yeah.
I'm an artist and I'm around rappers. I work with these people and I know that that's just the lifestyle. It's just a part of the lifestyle. But as a woman, fuck all that. Like,
Cheating is not the end all be all for me.
I agree with that. I do think that there are certain men in certain professions and industries that you kind of just have to understand that comes with the territory. Like, let's say, for example, in some alternate universe, I was dating a rapper, which would never happen. I would understand and I would come into the situation understanding, I mean, look, these people go to literally strip clubs to promote their music, or the clubs and stuff like that. So what do you expect? So I wouldn't be naive to think that just because I'm committing myself to a rapper and he said he loves me, that he's gonna stay faithful. So I agree there.
Be all for me.
how could you have this whole man list with all these requirements of how you want your man to be and then be okay with him cheating on you? Like, I'm just confused. I don't think you should put that out in the air like that. Don't
What?
say that.
What you
Like,
mean?
cheating ain't the end all be all. Don't speak that like that. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like when you say that, it's like, I don't know.
I don't know, I'm just a realist. I'm just a realist.
I'm not doing it.
I agree with her. Sis is on point. Sis is on point. I'm a big believer on manifestation, speaking to existence the things you want in this life, understanding that the power of life and death lies within your tongue. So I'm not going to sit here talking about all men cheat, because look, all men in this universe can cheat. but mine won't. The man God has for me will not. So I personally would not go around saying this rhetoric that all men cheat. Same thing with like niggas ain't ish. Like I don't say that. I stopped saying that once I really came to understand the power of my words, because all men could be trash, but mine ain't. And that's the kind of mentality you have to have, because I think this whole idea of, you know, they all do this and stuff like that, it's such a defeatist mindset. And that's how you attract men who do those things. So
Like, I don't think she's being realistic. Like, LaBrittany, are you gonna leave every man that cheats on you? No. Come on, sis. Especially if the bag right, you ain't going nowhere.
Can't let my nigga think that I'm okay with that.
that part where she says, especially if the bag is right, you're not going nowhere. But let's deconstruct that. I think there's truth to that. I honestly think there's truth to that. I think that, for example, ladies, if your man is making Jeff Bezos money and he steps out on you, are you leaving? And that's a serious question, because for some women, yes, cheating might not be something you're cool with and something that's going to really break your trust in that relationship. But do you value financial security and the lifestyle that man provides you over your genuine happiness? Because the truth of the matter is, money and all these materialistic things are never going to be able to compensate for the lack of trust and security you have in your relationship, if that really matters to you. Now, don't get me wrong. I know there are some people who don't really look at relationships in the sense of like, yes, I'm really here for love. I'm really here to have companionship. And, you know, I want my person to be all about me. In those situations, I would never fault a woman who chooses to be with a man for his money. Just strike up a little deal and just keep it moving. But I believe you as a woman have to be really real with yourself. If that security and that loyalty is important to you, I don't care how rich that man is, that money's never going to compensate for now the insecurity you have in your relationship and the lack of safety that you have in it as well. So you really have to be honest with yourself.
I would never tell him it's okay. But it's just like, if your nigga cheat, is you leaving the first time?
Bitch, I might be.
You might be. But you know, some women don't leave. So after you don't leave, guys in their head automatically think, oh, this is what I can get away with, and they're gonna keep doing it.
Megan can keep talking about it, and she can say it as many times as she wants, but she ain't about to convince me to be okay with the bullshit. You're not gonna make me think I'm crazy just because I'm not okay with my man cheating on me. That's what you're not gonna do, sis. Not gonna happen. Finito.
Now, here's the thing about me. I personally believe that everybody's entitled to live their life the way they choose to live it. I won't judge your standards. I will not yuck your yum. If it works for you, cool. As long as you're happy and you feel satisfied and fulfilled, great. But I personally know that certain things like cheating, I personally couldn't put up with it. And it's not something that I'm going to just get over because of my man's finances or how well he's doing and stuff like that. There's just certain things for me that I know for a fact it would cause irreparable damage in our relationship, and it will affect me. Now, I do think it's problematic within this conversation how she kept saying, look, I'm a realist. I know men cheat. I know, it's just something that I expect from them. So basically what you're implying is that people who choose to not agree with that mindset are delusional. And I disagree with that. At the end of the day, we as humans have the ability and the power to attract the things that we desire. So if you choose to remain in a mindset where, okay, all men just do this and it's just inevitable for me to come in contact with the man that cheats, more than likely you'll attract that. But if you choose to have standards and you know what you will and will not encounter and what you will and will not tolerate, you don't have to put up with that. You can allow yourself to welcome that kind of person or that kind of energy into your life. And I think what this conversation really boils down to for me is just this idea of consent. Here's the reality of the situation. If you're truly that high value man and you understand your worth and other women understand your worth, you should be able to look a woman in the face before the relationship, before the commitment, and let her know, hey, I love you. I want to be in a relationship with you, but I want you to understand that throughout the duration of this relationship, if I choose to step out and entertain other women, it's gonna happen. It's something that I am open to doing. It's not something that I will completely close off. And because you understand your value and other women understand your value, you should be able to find women who are okay with that. There are women out here who are okay with men who choose not to be monogamous. And I will go ahead and say personally, I've gone back to a man who's cheated on me. I've dated a man who said, hey, I want you to be monogamous to me, but I can have other people if I wish to. And this is me before. I consented to that. So what I'm saying is that there are women out here who are okay with that. Go be in relationships with those women. But for women who desire monogamy, who need it, who need that security, who need that respect, give that to them. Be a man of your word. If you choose to be exclusive to that woman, let your yes be a yes and your no be a no. Be a man. And I think what's so foul to me about cheating, you have the right as a woman to decide what happens to your body. We're given autonomy over our body. So if I choose to have sex with you, especially sex unprotected, because I'm under the concept that we're in a monogamous relationship, if you then choose to step out on me and have sex with other people, who knows what can happen? Condoms break. Now you put me in a position where I didn't even consent to have my body be susceptible to whatever is out there and to whomever you choose to be associated with or to have sexual relationships with. And that's wrong. That's foul. That's just so disrespectful on so many different levels. So there is no way to cheat respectfully, because regardless of however you choose to go about it, you're putting that person in a position that they did not consent to. Here's the thing. Polygamy is a thing. I'm a Nigerian woman. I come from a lineage of polygamists. My grandfather was a polygamist and had how many wives and children. So this concept of monogamy, I do agree that it's not necessarily something that's been natural and norm throughout human history. I get it. But even in Islam, before a man can even bring his second wife, the first wife has to give consent, I believe. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So even in religious doctrines, there's this understanding and there's this value for consent to be able to enter into a relationship where that man chooses to have multiple women. So removing that idea of consent is just foul and is just wrong. And another aspect of this whole conversation that I'm not particularly fond of is this idea that women have 100% full control whether or not their man steps out on them. Here's the truth of the matter. There are women out here who are doing the damn thing, providing everything their man could ever want, and he will still go out and cheat. So at the end of the day, it comes down to whether or not that man has the discipline to remain committed to his relationship. Now, I personally believe, and I've heard stories of women in relationships and marriages who deprive their men of sex as a means of retaliation, or just kind of use it as a carrot to dangle in front of them to get what they want and to have their demands met in their marriage. I personally think that's wrong. Not that I'm saying that that man is excused to go and cheat, but I can go ahead and say I understand why, okay? But what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, a man who has the ability to cheat and the desire to cheat, go and cheat, regardless whether or not you're a woman who is a top tier or not. So I don't think that's right to 100% put the blame on the women if a man chooses to go out and cheat on her. But yeah, these are my thoughts. Let's bring accountability to men as well, as we are also desiring to give and put accountability on women. Let's also maintain that sense and that level of accountability on men. And if you're a woman who chooses to date men who are out here doing extramarital things and stuff, cool. I would never yuck your yum. If that's what works for you and that works for your situation, more power to you, sis. But for women who that does not work for, know yourself. Some of us can't take that. Men like to say we are crazy, but sometimes y'all be doing ish that brings the crazy out of us. I can go ahead and tell you 100%, I'm probably the type of woman that would go crazy after getting cheated on. And I'll just be very honest. And so know what you can handle, know what you can tolerate. And if it's a situation you can't, don't sit there and make yourself miserable staying in that relationship. Not to tell anybody to leave the relationship, but do what's best for you. Do what's going to bring you happiness in this life. So that's all I really came here to say. Y'all let me know your respectful opinions down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.
You a bad girl and your friends bad too. Oh, you got the swag, saucy drippin' swag, do. You a bad girl and your friends bad too.